All right, folks, here we go. We are moving on to section 8.7b, factoring trinomials and solving equations. So I know 8.7a, we just did some factoring, and we're going to continue with the same idea. I know other teachers teach different methods, and you can kind of walk through that or maybe look that up a different way if you want. But again, I'm going to teach the same method that I know that works, and just to review again, what we did from the other day. So with that in mind, I would start with my AC. So 2 times 3 is 6. And then I would do my factor sum table of 6. So 1 times 6, negative 1 and negative 6. 2 times 3, negative 2 times negative 3. And I would sum those up here over 7, negative 7, 5, and negative 5. And you want the choice that we're going to make matches the b that's in the middle, which is the 5. So that's the method. That's the choice we're going to use. So you take your 2x squared plus, I'll just rewrite the 5x plus 3. And then now we will break that down into these two factors that we just found right here. So this comes down, so 2x squared. Instead of 5x, we now have plus 2x, which we just got from the factors, plus 3x, because 2x plus 3x equals 5x. And then we bring the 3 down here. And now again, we are working by grouping here, which is what we've been doing here for a while. What's common between these two is a 2x. If I take out 2x, I'm left with x plus 1. And then over here, what's common between these two is 3. Take out a 3, I'm left with also x plus 1. These two are the same, that's great. So x plus 1 and 2x plus 3. Hopefully we're getting a better understanding of what we're doing with those, and we are feeling a little bit more confident in how to work with those, because I know some of us were struggling before with those concepts. So, okay, so continuing through our notes, we're going to factor these here. So number 1 is one I don't think we did on the other notes. It's been a couple weeks since I've done those. So taking a look at where we're at, this one is a little different. Okay, number 1 is a little different because there's no number in front of the x squared. That 1 is problem number 1. So for this trinomial, we have x squared minus x minus 6. So you could put 1s in here just to represent our number and our place value. So when we do the AC for this, it's actually 1 times negative 6. So that's negative 6. And you can kind of use the factor sum chart we just did on the previous idea, but we have to do the opposite. So negative 1 times 6, 1 times negative 6, negative 2 times 3, and 2 times negative 3. And then we sum those up. 6 minus 1 is 5. Negative 6 plus 1 is negative 5. 3 minus 2 is 1. Negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. So that's our factor sum table there. And which one are we looking for? We're looking for the one that gave us a negative 1 here. So negative 1 here. And I'm going to go through this one in full detail and then show you how there actually is a shortcut for this. And then next time we'll be able to do the shortcut, I think, when we get to number 3. So original question again was the x squared minus x minus 6. I got to rewrite this to make it a little bit easier to see. So then we have our factors above us here. So we're going to bring down the x squared. So x squared, instead of the negative 1x here, we're going to go plus 2x. We're going to go minus 3x. And we're going to go minus 6. So now we're going to go through this process here again. So what's common here is x. You take out that, you have x plus 2. What's common here, negative 3. You take that out, you're left with, again, x plus 2. And the one thing I want to, let's finish this, x plus 2 and x minus 3. The one thing I want to talk about and make our shortcut here is if we go back up, what were our original factors? Our original factors here were a positive 2 and a negative 3. So let's bring that down. And what do we have? Positive 2, negative 3. So the shortcut here, folks, is whenever you have a trinomial with no number in front or the number is a 1, When you find those factors of 2 and 2 and 3, you can just put them right in there. So when I go back up and I find these factors right here, I'm just going to go x plus 2 and I'm going to go x minus 3. So again, that only works if I have no number or it's a 1 here. Then this I can just default once I find my factor sum chart. Okay? So that's a nice little shortcut. We start you out with the longer and more challenging ones first, and then we kind of teach that one second. Question number 2 is one that is really tricky, and it's almost one that has to be memorized, and it's called a difference of squares. And what we mean by that is there's no middle term. There's no x term here. So this is going to be one that you kind of have to memorize. So what I have here is this is a perfect square number. What times itself equals 4x squared? Hopefully we know that that's 2x times 2x is 4x squared. To get that middle term to cancel, you have to have 1 plus and 1 minus. And this is a perfect square number. What times itself gives us 9? So that's 3 and 3. So this is technically the answer and factored, and there's really not a lot of work to do. Let's just multiply that through just to see if that does work correctly. So if you use the FOIL method, that gives us 4x squared. That's your first. Here's your outside terms here, and that is minus 6x. Your inside terms here are plus 6x. You see those will cancel. Your last terms are minus 9. These cancel out. You get 4x squared minus 9. So that's just a way to show you. That's one of those special situations that kind of have to memorize. All right. So taking a look here at number 3. Question number 3 is one where, again, you know, if we look at where we're at, this is a shortcut. So there's no number in front of here, and this is a 24. So let's do the factor sum tree for 24, because it's just 1 times 24, so that's 24. So 1 times 24, negative 1, negative 24, 2 times 12, negative 2, and negative 12. We have 3 times 8, negative 3 times negative 8, 4 times 6, negative 4 times negative 6. So those are all of our factors. Let's sum those up, add them up. 25, negative 25, 14, negative 14, 11, negative 11, 10, and negative 10. So which one is the factor we want? We want the negative 14. So here we go, negative 14. Now that we know the shortcut, I can simply do this. X times x is x squared. This is a negative 2, so negative 2 and negative 12. That is the final answer. And again, you can always find a way to take a look at those and go through and multiply that and double check. So we get x squared, a negative 2x, and a negative 12x adds up to negative 14x. Negative 2 times negative 12 is a positive 24. Next one I'm going to skip so I can get on to the next part, but again, you can go through that. I think we factored in a lot of those trinomials. Here are some terms here to take a look at of how we're going to progress. The next thing we're going to do is solve a polynomial equation. Solve a polynomial equation. So I'm going to do one of these, and then I think I'm going to have to stop the video and take a break and make sure that it's working right. So you can read through these. We want to get all the terms onto one side, so we have an equal 0. We want to take out the greatest common factor, factor a trinomial, set everything equal to 0. That's where I like to tee it up, plug up, you know, and then put it in set notation. So let's start with the first one. And again, this is one we can do a shortcut on. And again, why can we do the shortcut? Because there's no number in front. That 1 is actually practice problem number 1. So again, we have a factor sum tree for 1 times negative 16. So we have negative 16 factor sum tree is negative 1 times 16, 1 times negative 16. Negative 2 times 8, 2 times negative 8. 3, and so then we have negative 4 and 4. So those are our factor sums. Add these up. 15, negative 15, 6, negative 6, and that's 0. So which one are we looking for in the group? We want the positive 6 here. So again, using our shortcut here, because again, we can do the shortcut because there's no number in front. No number in front of the x squared. So x times x is x squared. We have negative 2 and we have positive 8. And again, you can check to make sure those are right. Now that we have the equal 0, we tee it up just like we talked about before. So we get x minus 2 equals 0, x plus 8 equals 0. Solve these, add the 2. 0 plus 2 is 2. We subtract the 8. 0 minus 8 is negative 8. X equals negative 8. And then we write our answer in the set notation here. Final answer is positive 2 and negative 8. And I'm going to stop now and hopefully this works.